Barakat Jamaat.
I am Salma.
And I am Yasmin.
We both will take you to the journey of Damascus and Umayyads.
We are going to explore Unit 3 from the module Muslim Societies and Civilization Volume 1 today, which will cover the arrival of a new Muslim dynastic empire which began in the city of Damascus. It was the beginning of a Muslim civilization as the Umayyads. During their time, there were important developments in language, literature, religion, architecture, and government. Now tell me, who became the next caliph after the death of Hazrat Imam Ali?
The next caliph was Muawiyah. We mentioned in the last unit about him when Hazrat Ali had to battle with him.
Oh, yes, I remember.
So, what are we waiting for? Let's begin to know the background of how this dynasty arose. Muawiyah, whom we discussed before as well, who opposed Imam Ali during the caliphate, and they had a battle at Siffin too, was from the family of Banu Umayyah, Hazrat Uthman's clan. He was appointed as a governor of Syria during Hazrat Umar's time and continued to be the governor during Hazrat Uthman's time as well. However, during Hazrat Ali's caliphate, he was asked to step down from his position of governorship to bring up more needed reforms. However, he refused and continued the rule. He seized power in Syria and other neighboring lands, and this gave rise to new Muslim empire Umayyad from the clan's name Banu Umayyah. Now, tell me, Yasmin, what happened to the issue of leadership after the death of fourth Caliph Hazrat Ali?
After the death of Hazrat Imam Ali, there were disagreements about the question of who was the rightful leader of the Muslim community. Many of the supporters of Hazrat Imam Ali rallied around his elder son Hazrat Hassan and gave their allegiance to him as a rightful leader of the community. Muawiyah was not yet recognized as Caliph in all parts of the empire. So, he demanded Hazrat Hassan to surrender the right of the Caliphate to him. Hazrat Hassan did not wish to go to war with Muawiyah, so he hoped for a peaceful solution by creating a peace agreement between him and Muawiyah. Some of the significant conditions of peace agreement were as follows. Muawiyah could rule as Caliph as long as he acted according to the Quran and the example of the Prophet Sunnah. Muawiyah should not name a successor after him. Muawiyah should guarantee the safety of Hazrat Hassan and not threaten his follower.
Umayyad rule continued to expand, moving into North Africa, Spain, then known as Al-Andalus, and Central Asia. The Umayyad built upon the civilization of the Byzantines and the Sasanians. Some praised Muawiyah for his leadership, but others criticized him and the Umayyads because they did not appear to live up to ideas of justice and pity. They were seen more like kings than caliphs.
Did Muawiyah abide by the peace agreement he made with Hazrat Hassan?
After seizing Kufa, Muawiyah immediately renounced the peace agreement and was again proclaimed caliph by his supporters in 661. Hazrat Hassan returned to Medina from where he died in 669, and for his supporters the leadership from Ahl Bayt then passed to his younger brother Hazrat Hussain.
The issue of leadership arose once again. Let's continue to understand what happened after the death of Hazrat Hassan. As the life of Muawiyah drew to an end, the issue of who should lead the Muslim community arose once again. Muawiyah renounced the peace agreement and appointed his son Yazid as the next caliph of the Umayyad dynasty. To make sure that there was no resistance to the decision, he persuaded the Arab leaders and tribes to accept Yazid as his successor. Yazid's appointment as caliph would have tragic consequences for the Muslim community. The supporters of Imam Ali considered Imam Hussain to be the rightful leader of the Muslim community as he was the younger brother and only surviving grandson of the Prophet. The supporters wanted to give allegiance to Imam Hussain and not Yazid. Imam Hussain too refused to accept Yazid as the leader of the Muslim community. In a letter to his supporters, he stated his position as rightful leader. We are Muhammad's family, those who possess his authority. those who have been made his trustees and his inheritors. We are those who have more claim to this position among the people than anyone else. Historian Tabari. Why did the Battle of Karbala happen between Imam Hussein and Yazid?
Let's continue to know why did the battle took place. So Imam Hussein's supporters in Kufa were not happy with the tyrant rule of Umayyads and they were forced to give their allegiance to Yazid. Therefore, they wrote a letter to Imam Hussein to come to Kufa and promised for a strong support to the Imam. Imam Hussein sent an envoy to Kufa to prepare for his arrival. However, the envoy was captured on his way by the Umayyad governor of Kufa and killed. Meanwhile, Imam, along with his close family members and around 70 followers, already set out for Kufa from Mecca. News of the Imam's departure from Mecca reached Yazid in Damascus, and he ordered his governor in Kufa to intercept Imam Hussein and his followers. Imam Hussein and his followers were soon halted by the governor's troop and were asked to give an allegiance to Yazid. And as they refused, they were driven towards the dry plains of Karbala. The troops surrounded them and are said to have prevented them from getting water for 8 days. But Imam Hussein and his followers still refused to give in. On 10th October 680, the Umayyad governor launched an attack on Hazrat Imam Hussein and his followers. Even after he was gravely injured, Imam Hussein continued to fight. He would not give his allegiance to the man he considered to be the wrongful caliph. This was a terrible moment even for the enemies of Imam Hussein, that they were fighting the grandson of Prophet and the son of Imam Ali. Imam Hussein and most of the family members of Imam Hussein were killed at the Battle of Karbala. Only one of his son, Hazrat Imam Zainul Abidin, survived, as according to some sources, he was ill and could not fight. It is said that when Umayyad soldiers came to Imam Zainul Abidin's tent, his aunt Bibi Zainab bin Ali, granddaughter of Prophet, protected his nephew. It is said that later, Imam Zainul Abidin and his infant son, future Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, along with few surviving members, including Bibi Zainab, were taken to Yazid's court in Damascus as prisoners. They were later released and returned to Medina. Yasmin, tell me why the Battle of Karbala is considered as a turning point in the history of Islam.
The brutal death of the Prophet's grandson at Karbala was lamented by many. It forced self-reflection and soul-searching. Muslims asked one another, how could this have happened? How could someone kill the Prophet's grandson and his family so brutally? The death of Imam Hussein also strengthened Shia resolve against the Umayyads. Some of the followers of the Imam who had failed to fight alongside him became known as the Tawabun, the penitents. They lamented that they had not helped the Imam in his hour of need. Also, Yazid's fateful decision to go to battle with Imam Hussein undermined his claim to the Caliphate and that of the Umayyads who came after him. Indeed, the Battle of Karbala came to symbolize Umayyad tyranny and brutality. Over the centuries, Karbala became an important site for many Shia pilgrims who come here to pray and pay their respects. People from Shia interpretation of Islam still consider 10th of Muharram as the day of Ashura to commemorate the sacrifices of Imam Hussein at Karbala through different practices around the world.
Tomorrow is the last part of this book. We will be looking on what happened to Yazid and his successors.